Despite having the stats, talent, and wins, the Oklahoma City Thunder still aren't getting the respect they deserve. So why aren't teams afraid of them yet? The Oklahoma City Thunder are as legit as it gets. They've got the stats, talent, and the wins. Advanced analytics love them. The eye test, even better. But here's the strange part. Despite being one of the best teams in the league, the NBA doesn't seem to fear them. They're fun, efficient, and they play both sides of the ball. But yet still, there's hesitation, doubt, even disrespect. So why? Why don't people believe just yet? It almost always comes down to two things. One, they're young. And two, they haven't proven it in the playoffs. That seems to be the narrative. And to be fair, there's some truth to it. But when you look at age-weighted minutes played, Oklahoma City is one of the youngest squads in the league. They've been that way for a couple seasons now. SGA feels like a vet, but he's only 25. Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, Cason Wallace, they're still in their early stages of their careers. And yeah, this core hasn't made a deep playoff run yet. But don't confuse youth with inexperience. This isn't a team that came out of nowhere. They've been building. Even last year, you could see it coming. This season, they just leveled up. And about those playoffs, well, let's talk. Last year, they beat New Orleans in the first round, handled their business, then faced Dallas, a team, by the way, that ended up in the finals. And that series, closer than people remember. They lost in 6, but Game 6 went down to the wire. A single foul changed everything. P.J. Washington went nuclear that series. He hit shots you live with, and he made them all. That was part of OKC's strategy. Let the role players shoot, try to contain Luka and Kyrie. It nearly worked. And honestly, that's not a collapse. That's just how the playoffs go sometimes. So no, I'm not docking them for that loss. They didn't get outclassed. They didn't choke. They battled a finals team and nearly pulled it off. That wasn't a red flag. That's a warning sign for the rest of the league. You may not fear OKC yet, but you will, because this team isn't just talented. They're ready, and they're coming for the crown. This team this year is significantly better than the one they brought to the postseason last year. All those awkward Josh Giddey minutes where they were trying to figure out who the fifth guy was are gone. One night it was, hey, Isaiah Joe, you're in. Next night, Aaron Wiggins, it's your turn. They just couldn't lock in that fifth guy. That's not a problem anymore for Oklahoma City. They brought in Alex Caruso, brought in Isaiah Hartenstein, and they've got guys like Cason Wallace who are just better this year. They look like a much more complete team compared to last year. And remember, even that squad had a legit chance in the postseason. Now, the other thing people seem to bring up when they doubt the Thunder, it's all about SGA and the Thunder's offensive structure. Probably the biggest question teams around the league have about the Thunder in terms of taking them seriously as a championship contenders is how much they rely on SGA. Everyone knows Shea is elite. Free throw numbers aside, all the advanced stuff aside, he's just an incredible offensive player. But here's the thing. When you look at the top teams in the league, the ones really chasing a title, the Thunder have the biggest drop-off between their first and second offensive option. They rely more heavily on one guy than any other contender. Denver, they got Jokic and Jamal Murray. Cleveland, Mitchell and Garland. The Lakers, all these teams have two dependable offensive engines. The Thunder, they've got SGA, who is incredible, an MVP candidate, even maybe the MVP itself. But after him, there's a gap. And then you've got Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren and a couple of other guys, but teams just aren't all that afraid of what OKC can do offensively outside of SGA. In a playoff setting where teams can really game plan, you're going to see them try to take away SGA completely. And when that happens, the Thunder are going to rely on guys like Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren to create. And if we're being honest, Jalen didn't look ready in the postseason last year. He wasn't bad, but he didn't step up in a way that screamed, I'm ready for the moment. That plays into this broader narrative that OKC is just a little too young right now. But here's the counter. If your whole plan is let's take away SGA, the Thunder are actually fine with that. Because one of the core ideas in their offense is simple. Get open threes. You want to blitz Shea? Send doubles constantly? Cool, that just creates wide open looks for shooters. They'll live with that outcome, especially early in a series. Now, yes, it can backfire. That's what happened against Dallas. They missed shots, and suddenly the whole thing looked shaky. But with the volume of threes they take, they can win the math battle on any given night. Don't be surprised if they go out and hit 20 to 25 threes in a game. They'll lean into that identity, and they're okay doing it. So I'm not all concerned about the just stop SGA part. The real concern, the one that might explain why some teams still don't fear OKC, is that second option question. Jalen Williams is really, really good. But is he as good as the other second options in the West? If SGA doesn't have it one night, or if he's being hounded and nobody's hitting shots, they don't have that Jordan Clarkson type spark plug. They don't have an Austin Reeves, someone who can go rogue and just generate offense when nothing's working. And if Jalen Williams also doesn't have it that night, suddenly you're asking a big man or Cason Wallace or Lou Dort to be the answer. A big ask for a young team in a deep playoff run. And if Jalen doesn't have it, because then it's like, who else is stepping up? Lou Dort, great defender, super intense, but you don't want him taking 15 shots in a playoff game. Cason Wallace, a rookie, solid, poised, but not someone you're banking on to create offense in a Game 6. And then there's Chet. Offensively, he's got the tools, but he's still figuring it out. He's not Jokic. He's not AD. He's not someone you can just dump the ball to and say, go get a bucket. Not yet. So when you zoom out, the concern isn't about SGA. It's about what happens when team schemes him out. What happens when it's ugly, when the game slows down, when it's 94-91 with 3 minutes left and everything is half court, every possession a chess match. That's where the Thunder might struggle. Not because they aren't talented, not because they aren't well coached, but because of the youth. Because they don't have enough guys who have been in that situation and made the right play under pressure. And that's not a knock. That's just part of the process. Every team has to go through it. Even Golden State had to take their lumps before they figured it out. So when people say, I'm not worried about OKC this year, maybe it's not hate. Maybe it's more like they're 1 year away. One more playoff run. One more summer to add a piece or two. Then it gets real scary. Because if Jalen takes the next leap, if Chet becomes more aggressive and adds strength, if they bring in that one vet scorer off the bench, now we're talking about a team that's not just fun, not just ahead of schedule. We're talking about a contender. But here's the thing. Oklahoma City isn't built on just one or two players. They're not a team where you look at their stars and think, that's it, they're done. No, they have depth, the skill, and the defensive chops to compete with anyone. But what's still an open question? The third option. The player who's going to take some pressure off SGA and Jalen. It's not there yet, but if you're looking at this roster, it's not exactly a huge concern either. The fact that they've managed to get this far without a clear third star is a testament to their coaching, their team chemistry, and their ability to work around weaknesses. When you talk about size and rebounding, yeah, last year it was a potential issue. Chet was the only true big, and that definitely created some mismatches down the stretch against the likes of Jokic or Dallas before the injury bug hit them. But with that addition of Isaiah, their front court now has more beef, and that's going to help balance things out. Their ability to shoot, to stretch the floor, to make teams play at their tempo, that's going to make them a tough matchup for any team in this postseason. I mean, let's face it, they're one of the top 3 teams of all time when it comes to point differentials in a season. And let's not forget how active and aggressive they are defensively. They might not be the biggest team, but they're one of the most disruptive, and that's a huge asset in playoff basketball. SGA is a legit two-way player, and his ability to defend makes a massive difference when comparing them to other teams. So yeah, maybe Jalen Williams needs to show up big in the postseason. Maybe they need a bit more shooting from their role players, and maybe they need to nail down their depth. But at the end of the day, they're good. Really, really good. Oklahoma City, Cleveland, and Boston, those are your top 3 in terms of title contention. Anyone else? Well, they're going to need a few breaks to get there. Sure, it's not a lock for Oklahoma City to make the finals or win it all this year. Crazy things do happen in the postseason, but you can't deny the potential. This team is for real, and it's worth remembering that regular season performance doesn't always guarantee postseason success. The playoffs are a different animal, and we've seen teams go on unexpected runs, and that's the thing with Oklahoma City and how they play. Their style of play, their depth, and their defensive prowess give them an edge that should translate well when it counts the most. Yes, they've only won one playoff series last year. But this year, they're better. They've addressed some key weaknesses, especially in the front court. The issues they had against Dallas, whether it's size, shooting, or matchups, are much less of a concern, especially with more options at their disposal. If your judgment on the Thunder is rooted in last year's Dallas series, you're missing the bigger picture. The Oklahoma City Thunder's dominant 131-80 victory over the Memphis Grizzlies in Game 1 of their Western Conference playoff series is a statement win that will surely be remembered. The 51-point margin of victory is impressive, placing it among the biggest blowouts in NBA postseason history. It showcases how deep and how versatile the Thunder are, even when their star player, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, scoring just 15 points. The fact that the Thunder shot 50.5% from the field while limiting Memphis to just 34.4% shooting speaks to their offensive efficiency and defensive tenacity. Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren stepping up with 20 and 19 points, respectively, as well as 10 rebounds from Holmgren, highlights the team's depth. Memphis stars, including Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr., were neutralized, which played a crucial role in the overwhelming result. This victory is a reminder of Oklahoma City's balanced and lethal roster, one that looked poised to make a deep playoff run. The Thunder's ability to control the game early and never let up is a sign of their maturity and readiness, defying the doubts that have been cast about their lack of experience in the postseason. If they continue this level of play, they're certainly a team to be feared going forward and for the years to come. By the end of this season, I have no doubt that the Oklahoma City Thunder will have earned the respect they deserve. They are a real contender. I wouldn't be surprised to see them in the finals, and honestly, they've got the potential to be your 2025 NBA champions and beyond. They're on the rise, and the future is looking incredibly bright for them.